Welcome to this explainer. You know, if you've ever stared at a business process and just thought, where on earth is all our time and money leaking out? Well, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're throwing on our senior business analyst hats. We're going to treat flawed processes exactly like a detective treats a high-stakes investigation. And our primary magnifying glass for this, the Power Automate Process Mining desktop application. Let's dive right in.
So, let's start with a fundamental mystery that plagues literally every business at some point. Why do some processes flow perfectly smoothly, while others just constantly stall out? As senior analysts, we know the drill. Standard high-level dashboards, they only ever tell half the story. We don't just passively look at data, we interrogate it. We need to find out exactly why these incredibly frustrating discrepancies happen. The desktop app is what lets us perform a much deeper analysis on our loaded and transformed event log data, getting right down to the core of these process mysteries.
Here's our investigative roadmap for today. First, the Senior Analyst Toolkit. Second, filtering for divergent variance. Third, identifying costly repetitions. Fourth, diagnosing the root cause. And finally, custom rules and metrics.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the Senior Analyst Toolkit.
To actually begin our investigation, we follow a few basic steps to load and map out our transformed event log data. Step 1, naturally, is downloading the Process Mining desktop app. Step 2, we load an existing process mining process right into the system. And Step 3, which honestly is where it gets really visual and exciting, we view the process map. This map essentially acts as our scene of the crime. So instead of a boring spreadsheet with thousands of rows, you suddenly get this dynamic visual web. It's kind of like a giant spaghetti diagram of an invoice bouncing between departments. It gives us the lay of the land, letting us zoom in, zoom out, break this massive process down into smaller digestible pieces, and quickly review the initial stats before we start hunting for clues.
Moving right along to Section 2, filtering for divergent variance.
So let's define what we're actually looking for here. Think of variance analysis as a highly specialized filter. It's a layer of analysis that specifically helps us identify divergent scenarios and weird situations within a process. Basically, a process variant is a specific, unique path that a single case takes from start to finish. By selecting specific variants in the desktop app, we reveal this highly detailed page that helps us understand exactly where, and I mean exactly where, a process went off the rails. It really lets us focus all our efforts on the specific scenarios that are most relevant to our analytical goals.
And as senior analysts, filtering through these variants is exactly how we highlight meaningful process differences. I mean, think about the stark contrast between a perfectly smooth, linear process flow and a tangled, highly divergent scenario. We definitely do not want to get bogged down analyzing the thousands of cases that went perfectly fine, right? By using the app to establish advanced filters, we can isolate only the completed cases or filter the event log data all the way down to the most problematic, divergent subsets. This ensures we're pointing our analytical firepower exactly where the business needs it most, immediately separating the actual signal from the noise.
Next up, Section 3, identifying costly repetitions.
Now there's a fundamental truth in process mining. Reducing repetitions is absolutely crucial for improving the efficiency of the process and ultimately reducing costs. And this is exactly why we rely so heavily on rework detection. Rework metrics are this specialized layer of data analysis focused solely on identifying the different types of repetitions happening in a process. Picture a scenario where a purchase order gets kicked back for approval 3 different times just because of missing info. I mean, that is a wildly costly loop. By isolating these endless loops and redundant steps, we can directly attack the most expensive, time-consuming inefficiencies in the entire workflow.
Which brings us to the real heavy hitter, Section 4, diagnosing the root cause.
At this point, we really have to ask ourselves some tough questions. Why do completion times vary so wildly from one week to the next? And why do some cases encounter endless reworks while others just sail through completely smoothly? Well, to answer these fundamental questions, we conduct root cause analysis, or RCA. RCA is literally the ultimate tool for uncovering hidden connections within our data. It takes our analysis from just observing what went wrong to conclusively proving why it went wrong. It takes all those messy variables, the departments, the resources, the time of day, and mathematically identifies the specific factors that are dragging your performance down.
These different analytical tools actually work together to build an airtight case for us. Root cause analysis is specifically designed to uncover those hidden connections, giving us a really deep understanding of the variations in case completion times. It provides incredible insights into the key differences among various cases, which is exactly how it identifies specific definitive process bottlenecks. Meanwhile, our variant and rework comparison physically separates those smooth cases from the bottleneck cases so we can efficiently target our investigation. Put them together, and you have an incredibly comprehensive defense against process inefficiency.
And finally, Section 5, Custom Rules and Metrics.
Okay, so you've solved the crime, you've identified the bottleneck, but how do you establish ongoing surveillance to make sure the process actually stays optimized? Well, the desktop application doesn't just hand you standard out-of-the-box analytics. It gives us highly advanced features to keep watch long-term. We can create entirely custom metrics for specialized analysis that's perfectly tailored to our unique business needs. We can define specific business rules that constantly evaluate our key performance indicators, or KPIs. Plus, we can establish advanced filters for completed cases and continually review comprehensive process statistics. So really, our investigation never actually ends. It just evolves into this continuous, powerful monitoring system.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. What hidden inefficiencies and costly bottlenecks are lurking in your own event logs right now? Seriously, think about it. Now that you know how to leverage these incredibly powerful investigative tools from the perspective of a senior analyst, everything from mapping the initial scene to conducting deep root cause analysis, it is time to load up your own event log data, dive into the Power Automate Process Mining desktop app, interrogate that data, and uncover the hidden connections holding your processes back. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and happy investigating.